Here, I'll let you guys look at that.
Isn't she beautiful?
Oh,
What? She's got crazy eyes. Yeah. All right. We may make this a interactive class today. Like I'm solving a problem for a customer and I got stuck and I'm pissed off. Oh. Wow. All right. So tell me what's up. I sent out that Google form that has all the 100 questions we've already gone over several times, several ways. I found about 5 more questions out of the practice test we did on Monday. But I want to know kind of where you're at, and because you guys haven't gone through it on your own yet. What my plan was that you guys were gonna go through that, and then I would answer your questions or discuss different areas, and that kind of thing. So, what do you want to do instead? Like, what do you want to cover? What do you want to do? I'm just at a spot right now where this is session. We've already covered, we've covered all the material that typically gets covered in the class, but I mean, it was a different format, so I'm not as comfortable with how the material worked out necessarily. I'm interested to know what you need. That's what I'm looking for. So that's where you get to talk, and otherwise we could do some practical. I need some help with some stuff. I could make it as an assignment. Wow, this is really, my laptop is really doing some crazy stuff. Crazy, I say crazy. So,
well, yes, I'm not sure, and I definitely understand Salesforce better, and I'm not sure what I don't know that I don't know.
Well, do you know how we do? You know how we tell what you don't know? You don't know. Do you know how we do that? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to send out a new one. It's the one that has 106 questions in it. And here's what I've discovered. Now, what I want to do with this is I want to go through. So let's do this. So this is going to become a pre-test for future consultants that want to work with me, right? And so I want to make this time purposeful for both of us. So I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to make this a quiz. And then release grade me every submission. Respond and can see missed questions, correct answers, point back. Okay. So I redid this test, and I'm going to see if I can create the answer key for this. And it should be pretty. Choose the correct answer. Oh, wait, where are we at? Hold on. So, hold on, did I get? And then here's a funny thing. Interestingly enough, on the I noticed I put question numbers in here so we could relate to the questions. And they're in order because I tested them. But if I decide to kill this one, because there's no freaking. Actually, I know what I'm going to do now. I know how I'm going to figure that one out. So we'll come back to it. So I'm going to turn this into a quiz. And I'm going to add this option, TBD. I'm going to create an answer key. Let's just come up, let's do this. This is a good way to review. I'm going to make this up. This is a good way to review and provide some future value for the next time. So this is everything's worth 1 point. So this one is, what can a system administrator specify in the company information page? So we'll do this. We'll validate this particular. Can y'all see the test I'm looking at right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a different one. This is a copy. This is April 2020. It reflects what we did on Monday when we took the actual test. And this is the one I've sent you guys to take already, right? And that it just remembers who I sent it to, and it's got answers on it already. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth as a way to validate the right answer, but also we can discuss it and you can go help me research what is the right answer. If I can't confirm it and you don't know, that's a chance to go look it up, right? And we'll practice. And by the way, what's good about this is this is probably the best real world training for administering Salesforce. Why? Because we come into these situations all the time. We get confronted with what we think we know to what actually is, or what other people think they know, and you've got to reconcile all the time. You've constantly got to reconcile what you think is true, what others think is true, what Salesforce says is true, and then what actually freaking works. All right, so I'm going to flip back and forth. Maybe I can even, hold on a second. I'm going to see if I can put these side by side in some way.
How about this? Because I just this week I got busy.
Yeah.
I could just go and take one of the practices right now. If you wanted to work a little bit, maybe we just connect at 6.
Well, what I was thinking about doing.
Because what does Amy?
What's that?
I was wondering what Amy needs, because I think it'd be good for me to fly through. What does Amy need?
Well, let me send you the new test.
Okay.
No, I'm going to send you the old. Yeah, you have the old one. All right. If you need that, that's fine. What I need to do, and this is good anyway, is I need to put this into a graded system, right? So I can flip flop between the two and see what the other answers are and the responses, and that'll help me because I answered some of them too, so that would work. So Gil, yeah, go take the practice test if you want. I'm going to go through and assign point values to the new practice test as a method of review, but also just checking in back and forth to make sure, right? So yeah, if you want to do that, Gil, that would be fine with me. Does that work for you, Gil?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. There's just so few of us. I'll plow through.
So the one I sent you, you have it, right? The form that I sent you?
Yeah, it seems like I received it twice, maybe. So,
Yeah, maybe even 3 times. And I could send it again if I need to, you know what I mean? I could send you another email if you want.
Google Forms, knowledge check. Log in, make sure I can get in. Okay, yeah. So number 1, what can a system administrator specify in the company? Okay, well, if this is it, I'll just go ahead and mute myself and I'll plow through and.
Perfect.
All right, I'll connect with you soon.
Do that now. Yeah, just if you have a question, just ask it when we get along. We'll talk.
Okay, cool.
All right. So here we go. So let's just see what they are, right? So fiscal year. Oh, that one is the actual one. Did not get. It got somehow deleted. All right. So there we go. Number 2, where should a system admin specify the number of search results displayed? All right. So yeah, we're going to go through each one of these. And it's going to be in search settings. Whoops. I'm going to do the answer key. And it'll be search settings. All right. All right. Number 3. So number 3, the numbers are going to get wacky at some point. I think at number 17, they're going to start changing. So we're going to make it look. So Amy, your eyeballs on this is good. So we can kind of work through this together. We're creating a new user in production, Salesforce org, which 2 requirements should a system administrator?
Okay, and I'm not clear on the feedback you're needing from me. Can you give me more information on that?
Currently, the 2 files are in sync by number and question. Eventually, they're going to fall out of sync because there's a different number of questions and I had to do some editing. So making sure that the number 3 on the left is the same question instead of answers as number 3 on the right. When the numbers change, that's going to be important that we're doing that.
Okay, so I'm not taking my own test. I'm checking the left and right of the screen that you're sharing. Is that correct?
Well, you never answered the question of what you need. So I don't know what you need. What I need is to create an answer key out of this form so that people can actually get a score when they're done taking the 106 questions that I put. And if they score 65 or above, that's a passing score because I did the math already. So what do you want to do to review? Because this is how I'm going to spend the time reviewing, since I can't talk to you about your wrong answers because we don't know what they are yet, which is fine. I'm just going to make it now a quiz where you can just separate correct from incorrect answers. Does that help you, or what's going to be the best use of your time for you as I go through these questions?
Well, and that's what I want to determine, because what I heard you say was this is where I'll need your eyes and focus on it.
So if I'm working on a question on the left and I'm using the question on the right to kind of help me see what the right answer might be, or if I don't make sure that I'm answering, that I'm in sync with the question answer, because the numbers are going to get out of sync at number 17. The number will no longer be the same as the question. We need to match the question to the question.
Okay, so I'm making sure both the left and right of your screen that you are sharing is in sync.
If that's the best use of your time, what I really want to do is review the questions and answers so you know what the right answer is. So I'm going through and I'm validating what I believe the right answers to be on the left, so that this becomes a test, a quiz, not just a Google form like it is on the right, just collecting answers. Does that make sense?
Okay, I think so.
So let's just keep doing it. I'm providing a review for you guys so you could pass the test. If the way that I'm doing this helps you, then this is good use of your time. If you're not, I don't know what else to say. This is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just trying to.
Okay, got it.
I'm basically working on this form right here for the answer key for this form, the April 2020 form. So I got to add a point scale and I got to pick the right answer. I'm using this to help me pick the right answer. Just because I don't remember all this shit all the time anyway. So that's all. And I'm reading them and reviewing them for your benefit. If that's not going to be beneficial to you, then I can stop that and move faster. I just don't.
Okay, I was reviewing the test along with you. While you were talking, you went through question number 3, which I can no longer see.
Do you know what my goal is?
Yes. My question to you is, as we were talking, you were going through question 3. I'm going along the test with you independently on the form that you sent us earlier.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is I
Are you
missed.
answering the questions? Are you trying to answer the questions in the form for some reason? While we go through it that way? Because that would be an inaccurate measure of your it's fine, but what are you trying to do with your copy of the form? That's what I do not know.
I was
Your
go,
Oh wait, what's your goal with your copy of the form? What's your goal?
I was going through the form in conjunction with you on my own form. If that's not,
And is it your intention to submit that form?
I thought I was.
Okay, great. Let's do that. Are you done with question 3? Or do you have a question about question 3? I'll go each time because what I'm trying to accomplish on each form is putting the right answers to the form on the left. What you're trying to do is answer the questions on the right. As I discuss the answers, you know, okay. So now I'm on 4. Are you good with 4, or you need? I'm actually done with. I'm done with my work on 4. Are you done with what you need for 4?
Yes.
Great, awesome. I'm gonna go on to 5. All right. So what are 2 reasons a user cannot be deactivated? And that is they're the recipient of a workflow email, or they're part. They have to be. They got to be part of a public group. It's got to be the only answer, because the frozen doesn't matter, and owner of open opportunities doesn't matter. So that's got to be the right answer. With 5. Any questions about that? Okay, I'll assume. Hey, Brian's here. All right, Brian, welcome. Brian, welcome. Here's what we're doing, Brian. I created an updated version of the admin practice test. If you're looking at my screen yet, I don't know if he's even there yet. He's not even on audio yet, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, Brian, welcome.
Hello.
So what we're doing right now, let me just tell you what we're doing. So I sent you guys a request a couple times to take these Salesforce practice tests. Monday, we took the actual test, and I curated out of that test 5 or 6 more questions that weren't on the 100 bank of 100. So I've added those questions to this new one, and I'm converting this one, the one on the left, to a quiz. And in order to do that, I got to go through each of the 106 questions and provide answers. Which one's the right answer? So what Gil's doing is Gil's off taking the test on the right, the one I sent you guys already. He's filling it out for his own benefit. He wants to go through and see what he gets right or wrong. I'm going through each question and adding the answer key to the quiz, which is a good preparation, I think, for you guys to know what's going on. So that's what we're down with right now. So I'm building out a new version of the same test I sent you that has scoring built in. And I'm using the other one. This is a way to kind of help me go through it and also review in case you have any questions about it. So we're on question 6 right now. And, and if you have any questions about each one that I'm updating for the quiz, ask me about it and I'll explain it. And then I'll go through that for the recording. This is like an in-depth, behind-the-scenes review. This may never make it to the training stuff, Amy, but it might. I mean, this might be interactive or interesting to people. I don't know. So I'm on question 6 of the new form right now. And That's where we're at. So there we go. Any questions or comments about that? You good? So we're basically reviewing the test in a more detailed way. Okay. So how can a system administrator discover who added a field to the account page layout? And that answer is download the setup audit. Oops. My answer key. Download the setup audit trail. Any questions, comments, or any feedback you think is necessary? So as we go through this, this will help. This is going to help people practice for the exam. So there we go. All right. So 7 is good. Awesome. And I've never done this before, so this is all new. The way that I'm doing what I'm doing. This one's fun. Nobody knows the answer to this. All right. We have a private sharing model for cases. Each product line has several product specialists who want visibility to all cases involving their product line. It's a group of cases with a group of users. And I'm going to go with create a predefined case team and assign them with the rules, with case assignment rules. Any questions about that? Okay. And that's the next level of this thing is I'll go in and add to the answer key other guidance, like an explanation or something like that. You know, Amy, for that, do I want to add answer feedback in this little document, right? So for correct answers, I can enter feedback. For incorrect answers, I can enter feedback. I could also put in, like this could be like a really killer document that we could charge people for. Like we could put in the reasons why the wrong answers are wrong, the reasons why the answer is correct. We could add links to Trailhead. We could add videos. Like this could be pretty robust. So keep that in mind. We could do that. We're not going to do that today. I want to get the answers validated, then we'll add guidance. All right. So the answer key for number 9 is that we use a custom object within the product development team. And the product development team, executives, and system administrators should be the only users with access to the records of this object. Access to records of this object. Product development needs read-write access to all the records within the object, while the executive should only be able to view the records. How can the administrator configure the security model to meet these requirements? Okay, so it's 1 point. And they all say set the OWD. Oh yeah, 2 public read writes are wrong. It's got to be set to private. I think that's wrong. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Give me that rewrite. This is an interesting one. Set the OWD to public read write. Create a read-only sharing rule to share all records out with the executive public. That's incomplete for a variety of reasons. Oh, this might end up being our video for the feedback. Oh, okay, so we could do that too. All right, this might start, question 9 might start. Okay, so setting the OWD for the custom object to public read write lets everybody that has profile permissions publicly edit any of the records regardless of ownership. So that would not, so there's no way that would work because we can't restrict access any other way. So that doesn't work. Set the OWD to public read write. Give the product development team read, create, edit permissions. Give the executive profile read only permissions for that object. That actually works. I know I didn't pick that as an answer before, but that actually works probably the best, right? We don't need everybody else. It's just controlled by their profile. If they don't have read access, that covers our security right there. Setting the OWD to private still doesn't, what that does is that prevents anybody from having access to records they don't own, but they don't say anything about this one is also workable because setting the OWD to private and giving the product development team modify all allows them to delete as well. And that is the reason why that's not a good answer, because that gives them the ability to delete it as well. And giving the executives view all access still doesn't address whether they have the profile permissions to allow them to read, write, or edit it. So that one's not right. Setting the OWD to private and adding the executive users to the default team for the object, and then adding that default team to all records can't happen because there is no other team. So yes, public read write gives everybody access to it, but the profile controls which users can actually edit it versus the ones that can have read only. And then all the other profiles wouldn't have it because it's not addressed. So wow, that's good. And in the answer feedback, we can put that little snippet of video. Does that make sense, Amy?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So that's kind of how we're going to move forward after number 10. All right. So let me go to the answer key for number 10. And that one is 1 point. Okay. We use a hybrid sharing model, which means we have a mix of public, private, read only, and all that stuff. So opportunities and cases are private, accounts and contacts are read only. Account executives own all the accounts. However, other people own contacts. Like support reps own contacts. So this talks about the relationship between this is a standard relationship between accounts, contacts, opportunities, and cases, right? There's a standard relationship that if the owner of the child automatically has read access to the parent, and the parent being the account in this case. So, but the reverse order is controlled by the role in the role hierarchy, right? So if I own the account, regardless of who owns the case, contact, or opportunity, what controls my access to those children is the OWD. So how can I ensure that AEs can edit all the contacts associated with the account, no matter who owns the account? So whoever owns an account whoever owns a contact on my account, I've got to have the ability to edit it, even though the default level of access to records I don't own is read only. The only place that's controlled is in the role hierarchy. You determine the owner's access to the children via the role. That's the feature of the role. The role hierarchy lets whoever's in that role determine what their access is to those children over and above the access granted by the default. So let's see. All that is saying that where's role hierarchy in this example? There's only one answer with role hierarchy in it. Role hierarchy is the only one. That is your feedback. Okay, so what we're doing right now is live. We're doing recorded feedback on all the questions so that we can end up putting it back in the answer key later on. There you go. That's a good idea. So answer feedback, question 11. Password policy shows that the length of time that passwords expires is 90 days. However, some users find that the passwords expire every 14 days. Where should you change the password expiration period for these users? So what this is describing is the fact that you've got an organizational default password policy, but you can create another password policy in the profile. So those are the only two places that you can have different password policies, but you can control it for groups of users. You could say, well, these users need higher security than those users. You might have something in place. So that's all this is testing in question 11. So profiles assigned to the users. Where should you go to change the password expiration period? and that's the profile assigned to those users. Oops, let me go to my answer key. Profiles assigned to those users. Individual user record has the profile attached. Role that the user is assigned has the profile attached. And permission sets assigned to the user is against the user record. Only place you can change password policy is either the profile or the organization. And there's my answer feedback for question 11. All right, number 12. How should you provide a sales rep commission report that is visible only to the executive team? Okay, so the only way you do that is you're controlling an access to a report. That's the first thing you want to see. Doesn't matter what the report is, it matters that you're trying to control visibility to a group of users for a report, and the only place you do that is with the folder security of the reports. So, and you share that folder with the executive team. Naming the report, do not use, invites people to use that report. Saving the report in your personal report folder, you can't grant access to your private folder. That's why it's called private, not public. And set the OWD sharing settings to private of what? That's not how OWD works, so we're done. Oh yeah, this is good. 13. And I'm just going to use the one on the right just in case there's any, in case I have a question about what of the answer, we'll be able to access that. But for now, I'm gonna leave that here, go there, and I'm just going to leave that in the background so as not to confuse. So Amy, for you, at some point, you got to you're going to get out of sync by one question. So just ignore that question when it comes up. I think it's 17. And then the numbering will be off, but we'll still go pretty much in the same order all the way through the questions you're looking at for yourself. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay, same for you, Brian, if that's what you're doing. All right, so number 13. Woohoo! So this is a great way to work together. This is called collaboration. So, and then we'll probably not get through this today, so we'll do it again on Monday, or I'll have to get it done beforehand, and you can then take the test and see how you actually score. But what I'd really like to do between next week and beyond is for you to engage with your organization and come up with basically organizational requirements for you. So Amy, if you want to get something done in our org, you go, well, how do we do this? How do we do that? And then we'll do it in your org as a case study in order to get those what's the word I'm looking for? In order to help you solve some of your problems and get hands-on experience where it matters most in your org. So Gil, you can do it with Green Magic Homes. Brian, you can do it with Wingman. Julia won't be able to do it in her company because it's an enterprise. She's not an admin, but you can do it for your own. Done. All right, so 13. Universal Containers has 3 account report types: prospect, customer, and vendor. The customer record type is only for accounts that have a closed won opportunity. So the customer record type is only for accounts that have a closed won opportunity. So that automatically tells me that's conditional. You shouldn't be able to make it a certain way without conditionality. The question is, how should you prevent users from selecting the customer record type when they create new account records? This one's tricky as hell because creating an account validation rule would work. I just haven't tested it. I think it would work. Removing the customer record type as an assigned record type in the user's profile and permission sets would prevent that user to ever see records of that record type. So I don't know if that's a good solution. Create a workflow rule or process to change the record type from customer to prospect. That one, I believe, is also workable, right? Because I could create a rule that says on creation, check to see if this, that, and the other thing, that would just automatically change it if there's no opportunity, right? If a related opportunity is null, then you could update the record to be prospect versus customer. So that's fair. I think actually workable. And that would prevent them from creating, it doesn't prevent them from selecting the customer record type, it just prevents that record type being created. So it's a tough one. Now the last one, create an auto assignment rule to assign prospect record types to all new accounts. That doesn't exist. There is no auto account assignment rules, only 2 assignment rules. So it really comes down to creating a workflow rule or a validation rule. Because I believe, and it might be, shoot, let's see what other people have answered. There's only 13. You know, I think the only one that actually works is creating an account validation rule, because that's at the time of creation and it's not correcting that. So you're actually correcting behavior of the user by giving him feedback. The next plausible one, creating a workflow rule or process to change the record type from customer to prospect, is a net effective. You get the effect, but it doesn't meet the criteria of the question, which is prevent users from selecting the customer record type when they create new accounts. So that's data selection at the time of creation, which means the record, you want to prevent the record from being created in that way. The only thing that does that is a validation rule. So now I'm done, I'm solid, and I believe that's it. For a variety of reasons, I think that's it. Okay, question 14. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. A delegated administrator at Universal Containers cannot edit the created date field for the account record. What reason should you give for why this is occurring? Because they don't understand the basic debate. This I had to turn my phone off. This covers some of the basic understanding what standard fields are and how they're used. So there are 5 standard fields that come with every custom and standard object. That is the record name field, the ID of the record. I'm sorry, there's the ID, the record ID, the name of the record. There's always got to be a name of the record. There's 4 more. The date it was created, who created it, the user, the last time it was modified or edited, and the user that did it. So those 4 of those fields can never ever be changed, right? Well, the ID should never be changed fundamentally. That's what makes that record unique. But those system fields, the created date and the modified date and who did it, that's history. We don't rewrite history. If you remember that, it's a system audit field, so it can't be done. So everything else is irrelevant because it's a system audit field. It's one of those fields that nobody can make changes to. Does cause some problems in the world, but no, not necessarily. Okay, so the user does not ever permission on the account object is not relevant. The field is defined as read-only on the page up, not possible. The field is read-only, field level security, nope. It's read-only because the system says it's read-only. It's a standard field, can't be changed. All right. 15. Let's do 15 and get the answer key. So Universal Containers has renewals sales team that uses the opportunity object. By the way, Brian, this is why using Dropbox as your methodology isn't as useful, because you can go through those closed won or lost opportunities, all of them, and then use that to actually group records together in a report to say, okay, it's been a year, it's been 6 months, it's been 3 months. Like, you can group them together differently versus random going through all the records and trying to find out when they were done and using only one method of collection and organization. So this is why it's better in Salesforce, just so you know, for you guys, what you do. Somebody chatted me. That is correct. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, just think about I get the behavior. I acknowledge the benefit of the behavior of going through whatever you have to find out what you could get from it, right? Looking through those dead bodies of Word documents is great because they're organized in a particular way, which is good. It gives you a reference. But it does not allow you to pull out any other methodology. You can't group those records any differently through Dropbox. So that's why this is great to put them in, and I could say opportunities I won a year ago. Maybe look, how about the opportunities you won 3 years ago? It's time for them to get more Waldo, right? 3 years is good enough time between Waldos. He's not going to do something every year, but every couple of years he might do something all year. All those things are possibilities, but not if you can't slice and dice your data. Back to the work of reviewing this test, providing answer feedback. So Universal Containers has renewal sales team that will use the opportunity object. They want to use many of the same pick list fields that are already defined, but need unique pick list values. What feature allows you to maintain the same field for two different teams? Another way to say it is this. I want two different groups of users to interact with the same data differently. The only way to do that is record types. That's it. The page layout is controlled by the record types, the sales process controlled by the record type, and the permission set controls what access they have to the system or the object, like what they can see and do. Nothing else. So record types, whenever you see pick list values or page layouts assigned differently, or processes, that should always trigger record types. So page layouts, processes, and pick list values all refer to record types. This is good. This has turned out to be a good exercise. Okay. We have a sales team focused on renewals. They use many of the same opportunity fields as other teams, but need different stage values. Again, stage values are pick list values with more stuff attached. So we treat them a little differently, but they're controlled the same way. So what do you need as a system administrator to update? What should you update to support this requirement? And that is the stage, field, pick list options. And that's it. That's it. So forget everything else. Different stage values. So stage values are the field pick list options. That's the right answer. That's all there is. Page layouts, field level security, and stages selected in the sales process for the sales process are all controlled by record types, right? So for the most part, not the field level security part, but right? So the field level security is going to affect everybody in that profile for the field, which has nothing to do with that field, what it needs. Anyway, are we good with that? And this is good. This is a good exercise too. Again, I'm getting more and more enamored with what we're doing now. But for the most part, the reason I'm saying that is this is the answer feedback. This is what we're going to go through, the answer feedback. But I'm recording it so I can chop it up and plug it in to this form. And this is going to be our money maker. Okay, you guys are making the money without having to spend it. Aren't you lucky? All right, here we go. So Universal Containers has a complex sales process with multiple record types, each shared with all profiles, which means everybody can access the different record types and page layouts and pick list values. Some users complain about the record type selection when creating new opportunities. So what that means is when you're assigned more than one record type, every time you create a new record, you have to choose which record type you're creating because you have access to more than one. If you have access to only one, then, you know, if you have access to only one, then it doesn't matter by default. So users are complaining about choosing one of the multiple record types. So they probably have one they choose all the time. So one of the things you can do is you can instruct the users to update the default record type in the My Settings. Now, it has a couple of consequences to it. One, it assigns the record type of all new records they create for that object. So if they're creating new opportunities, it's always going to do whichever one they selected as default. So it takes away choice. However, you can fix that by allowing them to change the record type if they made a mistake, or if they've got one that's a different record type, it's easier to change that occasionally than have to choose every time the one you most want mostly. So this is a great way to do that. So instruct them to update their default record type in my settings. Removing the record types, those three, from the sales process can't happen. From the user's profile, eliminates them from being able to access that ever. Or from the user's page layout. Remove the record type field from the user's page layout is not going to help them change the record type to what they want. So instructing them to update the default record type in my settings, and make sure that the record type field is on the every page layout as well. That's important because you don't get that when you create record types. So that's good. All right. 18. So this is worth a point. Oh wait, so by the way, when this is done, 106 times 0.65. Yeah, you got to get 67 right on this test in order to pass at 65%. I think it's 65, 68. Anyway, so we need a field. Yep. Question?
The form that I'm going through.
It changed.
Well, the only thing that changed is there's no number 17. It just skips from 16 to 18 so far.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Awesome. I know I did something. Yeah, I added 17 is what I did. That's right. Because I had to put something somewhere. So I took when I went through the test to make sure I had 1 through, and they were in order, it was missing 17. So yes, you're right. And then the numbers jacked up because these numbers are manually entered. So thank you, Amy. That's awesome. Thank you, Amy.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So universe container needs a field that reflects account size based on number of employees. Which formula function should you use to evaluate different results based on specific condition with multiple outcomes? So the case study for this is, let's call it small, medium, and large. If they have up to 100 employees, then that field would say it's a small account. If it's got, and that way you can, use the formula to determine the groups of records that you have. All right. So, so that's what they're trying to do in function, right? So the formula that does it is if, right? If this, then that. And in a formula says this and that have to be the case. All right, so that wouldn't be the condition. Is the pick list value is just basically looking at all of your pick list values and finding a match to whatever text that you have. And then text just returns the text value of the field that you're in there. And I got to tell you, that's probably I probably know 1 or 2 other functions off the top of my head in that regard. So don't press me for more later on. All right, here we go. Number 19, worth 1 point. The CEO does not want to see the list of contacts when viewing an account page because he's an executive and he's used to getting what he wants. Okay. And Gil, for your sake, I'm going to put my light on, see if that helps my face get better in the camera. And I just moved the light a little, so that's not good. Supposed to. All right, Gil, let me know if my face is better. I don't know if it really ever will be, but it is what it is. All right. He doesn't want to see the related list of contacts, but still needs to access contacts. So we're really talking about what the CEO sees on an account page layout, okay? So on a page layout, you can simply remove the related list you don't want to see. And that is creating an account page layout without the contacts related list is the simplest solution for that. Removing read access permission for contacts from the CEO's profile is not going to give him access to contact records. Removing the account related list from the contact page layout is not what the question is asking about. It's saying when viewing the account page, I don't want to see the contacts related list. So that's out. Setting the organization-wide default sharing settings to private is irrelevant. Couple reasons. One, he's the CEO. If you have him in the role hierarchy, then all those records, regardless of the OWD, are going to be visible to him because he's at the top of the food chain and it's a standard object, and the role hierarchy is going to automatically return everybody below him's records as if they're his own. Right? So that's not going to do anything for the president. So that's the feedback. Now I'm complete. All right. So and then if you have any questions about my feedback, it's a great time to ask. It's going to make from a robust feedback. How should you ensure that a pick list field's values display in consistent colors on all reports? Well, this is a classic feature. We don't do colors in Lightning. Blue and gray-ish and white are the colors in Lightning, right? Different shades, 50 Shades of Blue. 50 Shades of Lightning. It's a good article title, Amy. I just made that up. All right. Consistent colors on all reports have to do with the conditional. You can either configure. No, that's not right. So it's saying, I want to make sure that the pick list field values display in consistent colors on all reports. So that is the pick list field. Whoops, pick one. The pick list field allows you to set colors for the reports dynamically or specifically. So you can go in and let it do it just however it does it, and it'll pick the colors, or you can pick the colors, but it happens at the field level. So this is the word all reports. You could do it with conditional highlighting for individual reports. That doesn't cover all reports. Somebody could create them randomly. So you got to think through all of the variations on how this might not meet the requirements. Okay. You got to match the requirements. All right, so here we go. Which three objects have a relationship with a campaign? Choose three. Now remember, campaigns are about how you're communicating to others. And there's only three people that communicate to or with. Two of them are leads and contacts, right? Those are people outside your org. The only other person, campaigns deal with people, the only other person in your org is your user. So you got your leads, suspects, contacts, suspects, prospects, whatever they are. They're people though. And the only other person is a user, but the user's not one of the answers. So what can a user do? Well, a user can associate a campaign to an opportunity. So in the opportunity, if you add an opportunity to a campaign or a campaign to an opportunity, that will reflect in the campaign influence for that campaign. Where are all, so if I send out, if I have a list of 100 people, this is, by the way, in this book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, what Chet Holmes says you should do is make a list. Santa Claus. Check it twice. Check it every day. So if you've got a targeted list of ideal clients, let's say you've got 100 of them, you found 100 companies that you want. You can put all of those companies as either leads or contacts, doesn't matter. Those leads or contacts from those companies, you could add to a campaign. So you might have 100 or more people, 100 or more companies, 100 or more. You could have 100 people from various companies that are in that campaign. And you can send an email a week to that campaign, okay? And sooner or later, somebody's going to respond. They're going to create an opportunity, and they're going to buy from you. If you add that contact as a contact role in that opportunity, that brings it all together. Now, if you've got an opportunity that you're just kind of like this blanket opportunity, like you're trying to sell Salesforce Admin Boot Camp, like we're going to do in May. May the Salesforce be with you. We might do it May 4th, Amy. Might kick it off May 4th, or registration deadline by May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Could be our May the Salesforce Admin Boot Camp. Is that geeky enough? Will that attract the geeks? We'll see. Anyway, adding a contact to an opportunity via the contact role also brings in all of that, all of those campaigns that they were a part of to bear, to provide ROI feedback on that opportunity. All right, there it is. Probably a longer answer than you needed, but okay. All right, 22, what standard object stores information about sales deals? That's opportunities. Now remember, accounts are the parent to opportunities, because you can't have an opportunity without a company you're selling to, right? The products belong to the opportunity. The products, if you're selling widget 1, 2, and 3 to a customer and not widget 3, 4, and 5, then whatever products you're selling will be on the opportunity. Once you've sold those products to that account, they become the assets of that account. That's how all that works. Any questions about that? All right now. 23, and me. We offer, Universal Containers offers a variety of products that are comparable to products from other companies. Sales reps request a method to track product strengths and weaknesses compared to those offered by other vendors. What should you implement to accomplish this? All right. So they want to track product strengths and weaknesses compared to those offered by other companies. So let's see what the answers have been by the other 5 people in this one. Give me some range. So this one's, I think the only one that works is competitors on the opportunity page layout. Now, the reason that works is you can add competitors as a related list when you activate competitors. So basically what you're saying is you're creating, I think it's basically allowing you to add an account to an opportunity, an account record, that account record you're calling a competitor, right? Products and price books on opportunity line items doesn't really make sense. So opportunities add products to, and then, so you could take any product you have to sell and you can add it to an opportunity. Now, the quantity times price collectively summarizes to be the total of the amount of the opportunity. So if I'm selling them 3 widgets at $100, 4 ding dongs at $1,000, you know, that's $4,400. How I got the price to do that is called a price book. So every product can have multiple price books. You can have your wholesale, your retail, your buddy, your friends and family rate, right? So the product is just a static list of products that you maintain. The price books are the pricing of that product. You might have your fall pricing line, your this pricing, that. You have all different kinds of price books. Each opportunity will add products to the opportunity. And when you add a quantity, it's going to multiply it times the price that you are picking from in the price book. Now, one little caveat is you can only have 1 price book per opportunity. So if I'm trying to make a sale to Green Magic Homes, then I can't mix price books. So I can only pick 1 price book per opportunity, and that'll do the calculations of the price to determine my amount. That's how products and price books work in the short, high level, I guess. So that doesn't make any difference to compare strengths and weaknesses. Big deal alerts on high value opportunities are a thing, but they have nothing to do with this question. If it's a big deal alert, it says, hey, you got a lot of money on the line with this one. And you define in your organization what a lot is. Is a lot 2,500, 25,000, 25 million? Depends on your organization. Now, strengths and weaknesses fields on the company information. So here's the problem with that in the word company. So where is the word company related to anything in the question? And it's not. Now, granted, we could put strengths and weaknesses fields on the opportunity record, but then you're collecting weird data that, you know, but it would have to be on the opportunity record where then you can compare, right, based on products, what do you say the strengths and weaknesses are, and you could pull in the competitors, and you can have all that. The only thing I think is going to be competitors on the opportunity page layout. So adding a competitor list allows you to see who you're competing against with this particular sales conversation. Because remember, opportunities are sales conversations. So for Brian, like you know, you might create an account and contact record for every other speaker on the planet, right? Because if David Noor beats Waldo out on a gig, not only will Waldo be upset, but you could track that against that particular opportunity at that time. So going back, you could actually have a way to figure out, you know, as part of your methodology, as your cadence of work is, you know, of all the deals we lost, you could create a report of who you lost to by the competitor report. Closed lost competitors and who they lost to. Now, when you go back next year, you have better information than before, even by report. So you can actually go back to, you might even find a trend like David Noor is beating you out in all of the deals in 2019. You now know what a great prospect list for 2020, because they're not going to hire David again, and he beat you on all those. You could create a marketing campaign that says why you're the next best choice after David Noor. Why? Look, you could choose a lot of people in 2020, but why I'm the best choice is boom, 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 and it becomes one campaign. Man, that's some high tech marketing that, you know, you could implement if you weren't digging through Word documents in an Explorer file. Make sense? No, you don't have to agree or disagree verbally. But, you know, okay, 24.
I
We
think
get through half of these, I'll be good.
Brian tapped out.
That's fine.
A little while.
Thank you. I see that now. All right. Universal Containers wants sales teams to access information about closed won opportunities with a common competitor for all pending big deals. Which feature should you use to implement this? We want a sales team to access information about closed won opportunities with a common competitor for all pending big deals. So that common access information about closed won opportunities is going to be similar opportunities. There's a thing in Salesforce called similar opportunities. And if you want to add the level of competitors, then you have to add competitors as well. So those are the two features you would have to use. Big deal alerts and sales teams doesn't address the common competitor. Sales teams and closed won opportunities doesn't address, again, the common competitor. Commonalities in one information isn't a thing. It's stupid. Look for stupid and avoid it in terms of picking answers, okay? Commonalities in one information. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, like social distancing tomorrow sounds stupid to a lot of people. So they're just going to get out in public and get infected. Hashtag get infected Friday. Friday, 4/24, hashtag get infected. 4 to 4, door to door. Number 25, how should you implement bi-weekly notifications to sales reps that include opportunities that need attention based on your last login, past due opportunities, and all opportunities not updated in the last 30 days? Well, listen, the only thing that works to do that, that includes all three things, would be a dashboard. A dashboard grabs data from multiple reports to provide one place to get information. Scheduled reports would do it, but that would be separate reports, not inclusive of each other. I want a bi-weekly notification to do these three notices. The dashboard's only do it. Opportunity update reminders are for managers. Managers get opportunity update reminders to remind them to tell their salespeople to do something they should be doing on their own. And a chatter group won't solve anything. Yeah, you heard me. Salespeople, you should be updating sales admins. Past, open opportunities in the past are evil. No questions. No questions. Manage one simple thing to get your data up to date. That's another good blog post, Amy. What's one thing sales managers could manage that would drastically improve data integrity in your organization, or forecasting accuracy, or the same article with two different titles? Heck, what's the odds somebody's going to read two articles? Number 26. How should a sales rep send a product data sheet to a prospect without attaching the document to an email? It's got to be a link. It's the only way to do a product data sheet. And a product data sheet is something you probably provide from your data, right? So there we go. All right, so let's review the answers. Upload the data sheet to a library, create, send a content pack to the prospect. I think that might be it. Maybe not. Attach a data sheet to a notes and attachment related list and email the link to the prospect. That doesn't happen anywhere. That's not how that feature works. You're just attaching notes and files. You can't send those to people as a link. Assign the prospect as a campaign member to the product data sheet campaign record. Not a thing. Product data sheet would not have a campaign record. And assigning them as a campaign member to a campaign is great, but it doesn't address the fact that they need a link to the product data sheet, not an attachment. Save the data sheet in the shared documents folder. And Ali Brand, I think that's just clearly, and email the link to the prospect. It might actually be that one, but I think it might be the content one. So that one's got to be checked. I'm not going to check it right now, but Amy, would you make a note of make a task for me if you want to check 26 to validate it? Because I don't know if that's 100% right. All right, 27. We created a new product line with a special sales team to sell the products. It means a group of users assigned to a product. The sales process for the new line is more complex than the current sales process. More pick list values in the stage field. That's it. That's what sales process is. More pick list values in the stage field. You added new pick list values to the stage field for use by the new sales team. How would you configure Salesforce to ensure only the appropriate stages are visible based on the product line? Well, record type. Are you listening for record type? That's all there is. So record type, record type, record type, record type. Good old record type Tennessee. That's it. You can't change pick list values for different people on a record without addressing the record type. It's a simple, I don't have to go through the other things. When they said pick list value different for different people, record type's the only answer. It is the only answer. Don't even bother with the wrong answers. 28, custom fields in the lead object can be mapped to which types of fields? Okay, they can only, so when it comes to mapping fields from the lead record maps to three objects, and three objects only, because converting a lead is really a mini importer. It's just an importing data into the account, contact, and opportunity, right? So I'm doing a mini import, and all the fields that come with Salesforce are already mapped because they are standard, hardwired. So nothing's standard in this equation, only custom. So if you create a custom field, you have to map that custom field to wherever it's got to land on a convert. The only places it can go is account and opportunity. It could also go to cases, but that's not one of our options. So there you go. Now there's actually a little work. There's actually a little design methodology. And if you want to collect a custom field, like say you create a custom field for a lead, and you got a web to lead form, or you got whatever, and then you want to convert the lead, and you want that field's data to go to a standard field, like say description. It's the only one that really ever could be used that way for the most part. You want to update the description, or you want to update the next step field in the opportunity with a custom field, but there's no map for that. So what you actually have to do is you got to create a custom field that it can map to, and then a workflow or a process that actually updates the standard field with the data collected in your custom field. So the rule shows true. It's only custom account, contact, or opportunity fields, but there is a method to get that data into a standard field. Just do it through a custom field and an automation. Which two related lists can be added to the opportunity page layout to track how campaigns contribute to the overall pipeline? So those two are simple. Remember, the only people involved in a campaign are leads and contacts. And leads have no relationship to the opportunity. They just are used to create it. They're the seed. So only thing you can add to an opportunity that relates to a campaign are the contacts that could be in that campaign, because they're campaign members somewhere else. And you can add a campaign to campaign influence on the page. Campaign members are only part of the campaign record, and open activities are really just activities you haven't completed yet by time or effort, and there's no relevance to that here anyway. Activities can be on any object, and there's no relevance to it. All right, number 30, which two objects can be related to campaign members? That's it. We said it several times, leads and contacts. But repetition is a mother skill. So we're going to make sure we get it in repeatedly. Partners, by the way, are accounts, and contact roles are the roles that a particular contact plays in an account or an opportunity or wherever you use the contact role feature. That's just a separate object which stores their roles. Because they could have a role, Amy could have a role as a salesperson on one record, but a buyer on another record, whatever she's doing for that record. So again, it's a way to use that data to clump up all my buyer and decision makers. Whoop, let me do something with them. Hey, if you're a decision maker, you need to make this decision on Salesforce, whatever. Again, it's a great way to pull data out. Who made the decision last time? You still making the decision next time? 31. Which Salesforce feature should a company implement to provide a method for its resources to track their leads and opportunities?
Hello? Dominic? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Again,
Hello?
I can hear you.
Dominic?
Can you hear me? Oh, she. Oh. All right, Amy left. Okay. So the only way for a partner to track their leads and opportunities in your org, I mean, somebody outside your org, is through the community. So the Lightning Partner Community. Hey, welcome back, Amy. I don't know if you can hear me yet or not.
I can. I don't know if Gail was able to hear you, but like everything you said between 30 and starting with 31 was garbled.
Okay. It garbled it. Okay, awesome. Sucks, but okay. So what I said on 31 is, if you want to allow someone to track leads and opportunities in your org, but they're not a user in your org, the only method to give them access to your org's records, especially for leads and opportunities, is through the partner community. Customers can track their cases through your customer community. There is no such thing as automated lead conversion, and web to lead forms will only give your partners the ability to enter a lead, not a way to track it, a lead. So the only answer is partner community. All right. 32. How should an email automatically be sent to a customer when the support rep adds a comment to the case? So the only way that that happens is by enabling case comment notifications. And because a contact is a required field on a case, then it naturally goes to contacts. No one else, it wouldn't go to a lead because you're not doing business with them. And it can't go to anywhere else because your users, anyway. So set the customer as the automated case user is in the automation settings for your support settings. And a customer can't be a user. That's a different person with a different everything, different record altogether. So include the customer in the assignment rule. No. Assignment's internal. Response is external. Add the comment to the case chatter feed. No. That would only add the comment to the case chatter feed. I don't know if you can do that or not. My brain can't think about that right now. So no. All you can do is enable the case comment notification of contacts. All right, 33. If you enable case feed actions and feed items in the support settings, that's enabling features in a place called support settings, with the appropriate profile permissions enabled, what change will users see? That's saying all other things being equal, don't get to, assume they have the permission to do whatever the answer says they can do. We want to test whether the answer you pick is something that Salesforce can do, regardless of what you could control more granularly. So case feeds will no longer be hidden on standard page layouts. Cases will use case feed layouts rather than standard page layouts. I think that's the one. All case buttons will be converted to actions in the case feed. No, I don't think that happens. And all case fields will be added to the chatter feed tracking. Nope, chatter feed tracking again is you're posting changes to fields in chatter versus recording changes to fields in field history, which is a related list and the ability to report. That's not what it's asking about. It's saying case feed actions, which are the log a call, send an email, close the case, whatever those things are, those items. I think it's going to be case feeds will no longer be hidden on standard page layouts. But again, that one I'm not 100% sure about. So I'm going to go with all right. Close enough. Let's see if we get feedback on it in the future. In which situation is the case contact notified when a support rep adds a new case comment? So this is kind of a repetition of the same question. So a couple of things. So there's two, something the support rep does and something the admin configures or enables, right? So there's two different audiences of how you get, right? How you get the answer. So we're going to 50-50 split it. So the support rep posts the comment to the case chatter feed. No, what situation is the case contact notified when a support rep adds a new case comment? In what situation? So if a rep posts a comment to the comments field, I don't know if it's to the chatter feed or the case feed. Either one of those is not addressing a comment. So I say they're out. Auto response rules have nothing to do with case comments because that case comments happen after auto response is already run. And auto response only runs when the record is created. Not every time it's edited, and adding a case comment would be an edit. So I'm going to say the system administrator enables case comment notification to contacts. End of story. 35. Universal Containers wants to allow potential customers to submit cases for technical inquiries. They don't have the resources for a call center and need to make support available through other means. So besides calling in, how do your customers get support? Which two options should they consider? Well, there's only two options: email to case, web to case, and of course, social to case, but they're not going to have that as an answer. So, generate web to case and add it to the website. Yep, that's what we do. A link, implementing a lightning, adding a link to a specified routing address for email to case. Okay. Well, email to case and web to case are the only two ways to do it. So adding a link for email to case would be fine. I don't know how that would get worked out exactly, but it's better than the other two answers, which is Lightning Partner Community would not, they're potential, these are leads, if you will, or they're not customers yet. Although, case for technical inquiries, implement a Lightning Partner Community with knowledge. Da-da-da-da. I just think a partner community is the wrong set of solutions. Could you create a case to a partner community? Technically, you could, but I'm going to go with adding a link to a specified routing address for email to case. So you're giving them a link to go to your support@yourcompany.com. Fair. And any email that goes to support@yourcompany.com is going to create a case. Perfect. I think it's much simpler than I was doing it. So that's one of the things that can happen. You could also overthink these. Universal Containers uses an auto numbering system to uniquely identify each support request. They want customers to know this number as soon as possible. Which two features should you implement to allow customers to have quick access to their case number, right? So yeah, I could add that as a field, the case in the record. When that record's created, it now has a number. I can add that number to my email response, so I'm good to go. Case comment notifications would require a case comment, and that doesn't say that that's guaranteed. And case feed layout actions don't have anything to do with the customer getting access. So self-service portal is the only other way. Good, good, good.
Yep.
All right. They want internal support requests to be directed to any internal support. Any internal questions should be directed to IT reps. They want external support requests to be directed to customer support reps based on the contact's location, which is another way for a routing auto assignment rule, right? So, right? Now, to assign a case or a lead to a group means you got to create a queue. So the only thing I see that has anything to do with assignment is assignment rules and queues. Territory management and teams has nothing to, that has to do with account teams and opportunity teams and how you define and refine your account ownership or access. Auto response rules and profiles have to do with responding to a customer once it's been assigned. And automated notifications and groups is a ridiculous set of words that don't mean anything in Salesforce. Okay. 38, what is a potential benefit of using suggested solutions? And that, is, what you're saying is when a case comes in, this is like knowledge articles. Solutions are an older version of knowledge. So when a case comes in based on the data on the case record, the details of the case record, and anything else you want to configure, you could suggest a solution to that particular problem, which means if you've configured it correctly, that solution saves you support time. It has no, solutions have to deal with cases. So it's not going to help a product launch. It's not going to make your marketing more consistent. And it's not going to shorten your sales cycle. What it is going to do is reduce your support costs. All right, what two actions allow the system admin to limit chatter access during a rollout to a subset of Salesforce users? So the rule of chatter is this: chatter is available and enabled by default for all organizations, new ones especially. But as an administrator, you can control which of your users actually can use chatter by setting their permissions, giving them a permission on their profile, right? So it's a permission-based thing. So creating an email invitation for the subset of users is only going to get them to activate their license in chatter, not going to stop any, it's not going to limit it to that group. So you got that subset of users. Because they said they want to limit chatter access. Which means you got to control which users have that permission. So that's either a permission set on the user record or that permission set, if you will, the permission on the profile. Adding them to a group just adds them to a group. Doesn't stop. I mean, they have to have access to chatter first. How would a sales rep create an all-day event in Salesforce? By yelling at a screen in Schmidt style, all day, son, all day. No, it's not the right answer. So, check the all day box, right? Using a task for an event is wrong. They're two different things. Ensuring that the event is scheduled for times within the start and end date hours is just the start and end date of the time. It's not an all day event. You're just saying it just happens to be scheduled with all those variables, which can't. Yeah, it's wrong. Ask the system admin to check all day events in the activity settings. No, that's not how a sales rep should create an all day event in Salesforce. When all they have to do is check the all day event checkbox on the event record. Sales ops needs to import and export accounts, contacts, opportunities, and orders. Which two profile permissions does the sales op team need to be able to accomplish that? Well, first of all, they've got the weekly data export permission and the API enabled. Why API enabled? Because if you end up using a sophisticated tool like Data Loader, when you log into Data Loader, your user record has to have API enabled in order to use that tool, thus Data Loader. Modify and view all data for those objects does not necessarily give you the ability to export those or import those records. You have to have other permissions for that. Modify all would work, but that doesn't mean it's right. 42. Which, uh-oh. Got to get them both right. All right. Which feature allows your company to require a value in a custom date field when the opportunity stage changes to closing? Notice it said in a custom date field, which means that you can, well, I don't know if it matters. It changes the clothing. All right. So validation rule, a record type, that just gives access to different page layouts, pick list values, and types of data inside that data object. A page layout would not be able to be used because the record is in flux, which means when you're editing the record, that page layout is going to control that record, and you haven't changed it to closed yet or closing. So the closed page layout wouldn't yet be assigned. So a validation rule is the only way to do it. Dependent pick list, not a pick list. So that's not relevant. All right. Which set, 43, which set of records is exported by choosing the export all option instead of export in data loader? The set of records that are included are the ones from the recycle bin. If you want to delete the records in the recycle bin while you're doing a delete with data loader, then you have to hit I think it's called hard delete. I haven't used data loader in a while. Since dataloader.io, I haven't used data loader in a while. All right. So that one is the ones in the recycle bin. Do I need to explain the other ones? Records for all standard objects in the org would be ridiculous. Think of the problems that would cause if somebody mistakenly clicked one button versus the other. Right? And where's all the criteria from data loader that you were using? You can export everything gets records for a specified object and its parent records. Nope, not how it works. You'd have to specify all records. And I don't know if that's even a thing. And then records for a specified object and its child records. No, that's not how export all works. That's not what it's doing. It's doing the recycle. It's talking about the recycle bin. Universal Container regularly imports accounts from an external order system that has its own ID field for each record. What should you do to help prevent duplicates during the imports? So every record in the world except Excel records have unique record IDs. That's how the database does it. So if the other system you're going back and forth with can't add the Salesforce ID to that database when to update all those records that you got. So let's say I had a mainframe and I had some other computer system and Salesforce, and I want to swap records back and forth. I take records every morning, I import them into Salesforce, I do something, and then I put them back in the other system. That's your daily routine. The easiest way to do that is to, in the other system, add a new field called Salesforce ID, and then export all the records from your old system or the other system, upload them into Salesforce, then export them out of Salesforce, and then upload them into the new system. That creates your loop, and it's using that external ID. It's using the Salesforce ID to keep the loop together. Like anything that happens here, that record, any record's been changed, I export, I use the Salesforce ID to match it up. Now, if the other system can't add a Salesforce ID, it has a record ID. What we do then to Salesforce is we add the external ID field to Salesforce and do the same thing. We import all those records into Salesforce, and then when we export them out with any changes, then those records get matched to the other system by their ID. That's how you do an update. And then when they come back in, we can match them from the other system's ID or Salesforce ID, whatever we have available to us. All right, any questions? Create a unique external ID field on accounts in Salesforce for matching. That's it. 45, what configuration option shows sales reps the fields they must fill in prior to saving opportunity? Shows the sales reps. What configuration shows the reps, the user, the fields they must fill in prior to saving? Otherwise, it is the required fields. So the only way to do that is the page layout required fields. You can put a red asterisk on those. The system required fields does the same thing, but that's not one of our options, right? And you can change a field's requirement status based on the page layout. So one field, like say prospect rating, might be required to one sales user, but the accounts receivable user doesn't need to do that, so they don't care. Field level security controls the visibility of a field based on profile, and it doesn't change. It doesn't show, you never see the field. And you can't make it required if it's like read only, right? So the field level security has to be, they have to have read, write, edit access in order to add that field. Dependent pick list fields doesn't show the sales reps what they must fill in prior to saving an opportunity. And opportunity validation rules will check your work, but they won't show you up front. So it's only the page layout required fields. How long is data stored in the recycle bin? 15 days. Whoops. Any questions? That's it. That's the answer. Memorize it. Seriously, memorize it. Okay? I don't need to debrief that one. It just needs to be memorized. There's the debrief. All right. How should you configure a report for each sales rep to see their open opportunities? So the first answer is true. Create a report filtered by my opportunities. Whichever user opens that report, they'll be filtered by whatever opportunities they own, because that's the default filter. If I create a summary report grouped by sales rep, will each sales rep see their own opportunities? Yes. But that doesn't configure the report for them just to see their own opportunities. They're going to see all their opportunities grouped together, which is kind of meeting the requirement, but they get to see other stuff. So that's what's called an overkill answer. Yeah, it works, but is it overkill? Yes, it's adding, you're adding something that the requirements didn't ask for. Create a report schedule for each sales rep would still not, that first of all, at scale, that's stupid. If you had 100,000 sales reps, how's that going to happen? Create a separate report for each sales rep. Again, at scale, it doesn't work. Okay. Which report should an admin use to display the number of contacts related to an account? This one's always interesting. So, it would be the tabular report with a roll-up summary account field, if that would work. I don't think you can get a roll-up summary on the contacts, so they would calculate that. So blah on that one. Summary report with a roll-up summary account field. Nope. A tabular report with a report formula wouldn't be able to do it, but a summary report with a report formula would. So that's what would happen. A report that would count all of the children It's a report formula. So there we go. So number 49, we're doing good. What should an admin configure to provide each sales rep a dashboard that shows their current opportunity pipeline? Well, that's easy. Every dashboard, so first of all, creating a dashboard for each user would be ridiculous, and at scale wouldn't work. Setting a dashboard filter to the current user could work, except there's a whole thing built in to do that, which is setting the dashboard running user to the current user. So why overlook core functionality for something that may or may not communicate to the end user? And creating a dashboard folder for each user, again, doesn't scale. Which 3 reports can be used to display a list of the top 10 accounts on a dashboard? Choose 3 answers, still only worth 1 point. So the first thing you gotta know is a list of the top 10 accounts is always gonna be a summary report. Why? Because I gotta summarize, and I gotta create a filter, and I gotta create, you know, so I gotta have a summary report. So here it is, 1, 2, 3, but hold on, let me read further. Summary report with rows to display set at 10. Doesn't happen on a summary report. You can't do that on a summary report. That only works on a tabular report. So and it only works in classic. So this is a classic question about a tabular report. How do you get a tabular report on a dashboard? You got to limit the display to under 15, basically. But there's to 10 to meet this requirement. You can't do a set display limit on a summary report, and tabular reports with a chart still can't show up on a classic dashboard. 81. With a private data access model, product managers and sales reps are in different branches of the role hierarchy. What should you do to ensure that product managers can report on opportunities in their product line? So, product managers can't see and report on all the opportunities, especially the ones with their product in it, because you have a private data model. So the only thing you can do, right, is in a private model, you want to give access to a group of users for a group of records that match a criteria, not individual records, but a group of records. So it's group to group. That's a rule. So remember, roles roll access up the chain. Everybody above me in the role hierarchy gets access to the chain, to any record I own, which eliminates the first as an answer, because moving product managers to a role below the sales rep wouldn't give them access to anything. Creating a role with both sales reps and product managers puts them in the same situation, because every user in a role is in a separate lane. So they can't see each other's records by default if you have a private model. Save all opportunity reports in a public folder doesn't change security. Security settings say if you can't see a record, you can't see a record in search, you can't see a record in reports, you can't see that record anywhere. I will not eat him on a boat. I will not eat him with a goat. So the only thing to do is to create a sharing rule based on criteria. Share this group of people with this group of records that they own when this happens. Conditional sharing. This is fun. Hope you guys are having fun. 52. What should a system admin do to organize the fields available on a report? So, organizing the fields that are available on a report is different than putting fields on a report. So, Defining is a better word than organizing. Defining which fields are available on a report. The only thing that controls the fields available on a report is report type. So enabling dynamic reports is ridiculous because all reports are dynamic. Edit the report builder layout is ridiculous because you're just saying organizing the fields on a report is different than organizing fields available on a report. So the word available is what kicks this thing up. Organizing the fields to display on a report has to do with the report builder and the layout of the report. But the fields available is report type. And because the two answers that have report type in it, one refers to standard report types, the other refers to custom, we know that it ain't standard because standard is uneditable. You can polish a turd, but you cannot change it. It is what it is. What are two final approval actions in the approval process? So remember, in the approval process, it worked. We've covered in class, and we did it a little bit here as well. But
send an outbound message and email alert.
That's right, because those are the only two actions available in approval process. There's only 4 actions available. They're the same ones available in workflow. Create a task, send an email, update a field, or send an outbound message, which is a computer message. And there you go.
Ooh, well, I finished the practice.
All right. We'll check your answers in a minute, sir. We're almost done here.
Okay.
This is the last one, as a matter of fact. So we're going to do 53 because it's half the test. Oops, already did. So we're done here. Awesome. Let's see how you did. Gilbert. Well, I don't have a score for you yet. You know why? Gil, you know why I don't have a score for you yet?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Because we haven't finished the scoring test. This test is going to be the one we're scoring. Does that make sense? So when I finish these 106 questions, you could take the test again and end up with a score. Is that cool?
Okay.
Does that make sense? There's a couple of questions, there's a couple of added questions, number 17 and then number 101, number 102 to 106. Yeah, those are the new questions. So you could, and they're mostly in the same order except for number 17 pops in there. And I think Amy said that all the rest are the same. All the world's changed. We are the changed. All right, cool. So Gil, I can check your answers now. Right. I'll do that later. All right. Was this useful, Amy, for you? Gil, was that useful for you to go through it?
Yeah, to see what it's like. I feel, yeah, I'm just really curious how I did. It's still.
I know. We'll get to that. Think of it as my information about you first.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through.
It was
Well,
a little
let's do a couple. Let's do a couple first off. Let's do a couple. Here's your answers, Gil.
A little intimidating.
Why? What's
Well,
intimidating?
because it's different than what we've been doing. It's like we would learn the hands-on stuff, and then just seeing it in like test format like this is kind of different than what I.
That's right. No, you're dead on. You're absolutely right. And that's the gap between the class and the test, which I'm trying to close with this. To kind of talk about the things we did, give you some examples of where to go, what to do, that kind of thing. Anyway, so that makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if you had like a partial test along the way, just so people are getting a taste along the way. Or what is your aim?
I am working on doing that.
Okay.
I'm going to do that along the way as we go through.
Okay, cool.
But that's what Trailhead did along the way. It gave you tests along the way.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's very similar, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is wrong because I didn't give you the right answer. Somehow the right answer got deleted. Just so you know.
Okay.
So sorry about that. You got it wrong because you didn't have the ability to do it right. Not your fault.
Okay.
All right. Number 2. That's wrong too. It's in the search settings. It's all right. You got to go check out search settings. And and I think this one, when we take the test, I think it'll show you the let's see what no, that's it. Yeah, I think you don't get to see it until two out of 53, and it'll show you the right or wrong answers. It'll show you got it wrong, but it doesn't show the right answer. So that's fascinating. Okay. Oh, what happened? Oh. All right, it'll be fascinating.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna hop off.
All right, man. So what
Okay, and you're not sharing with us anymore.
What? What?
Or we just see you.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, my Zoom stopped sharing? I must have closed it by accident.
Hello?
Okay, well, that's cool.
Dominic, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Amy. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me, Amy? Nope. Okay, we're going to end the meeting. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.